Hey, what's up, guys? This is Ben Landers, founder of the PESpecialist.com, and you're watching the Phys Ed Q&A show. This is a place where we're going to just have some conversations around common questions related to physical education and try to help make your day a little bit more awesome. I hope you enjoy it, and just want to remind you, show note links will be down in the description of the video. And if you would rather listen to the video's audio in audio form, we do have a podcast, which you can check out for all you podcasters. Just search for the Phys Ed Q&A show. Let's get into the show, and I hope you really enjoy it. What's up, friends? This is Ben and Marcus, and welcome to the Phys Ed Q&A podcast. We've got a very helpful, awesome episode lined up for you today. A very common question, and that is
how to teach kindergarten and PE class.
How to teach those gardeners. Oh man, what a struggle. We're going to start off and talk about how to start the year with kindergarten, some things that we do at the beginning of the year, and we're also going to talk about our different perspectives because I have my kindergartners twice a week for 25 minutes, so my classes are very short, and Marcus has his kids for 50 minutes.
Once a week for 50 minutes. So
yeah, we'll have some different perspectives. Hopefully we can hit everybody and give you guys some good tips and things. So when you start the year, for me, you got to remember that those kids, it's the first time being in school for many of them. So they're going to walk into the gym with wide eyes, and they're going to look around. They're going to probably be scared. Some of them might be crying. And so you have to just ease into things. For me, I teach my kids the stopping signal the very first day. We practice walking on the short lines, jogging on the long lines, and then we play a little game called I See, which is a game where they just move around in open space, and we talk about having our personal bubble. Also I read them the book, The Gym Teacher from the Black Lagoon. So we talk about how we're going to learn lots of different things and how much fun it's going to be. And I just try to keep it very low-key. I try not to put anybody in timeout yet, and just, have a fun first day of PE. What about you? What's your first day look like?
Ours is pretty similar. We come from, the same background as far as, teaching wise go. Students come in, they, as you said, they have the big wide eyes. They're just really, really excited about being there. That's the first room they walk in, and the ceiling is, 20 feet high in the sky. So they are really excited to be in there. So we have to have a great patience on them and try to make that first day really enjoyable. We do the same thing. We talk about the start and the stop signal. And we also, walk through the walking and jogging as our warm-up as well. But we just try to do a good job of connecting with them and trying to learn their names as quickly as possible on there. So we just try to set a really good positive impact on them when they first walk in. And then we establish the rules, start and stop signal, all those different things over there that can, help them enjoy the experience of being in the gym. So, we do some of the similar things over there. It's just, we do them just a little bit different, but
sure,
it's pretty much the same thing on there.
Marcus just made me remember one thing I do. I started doing this about 3 years ago. Is when they come in that first week, our teachers put name tags on them, and because I know most of the school except for kindergarten's really the biggest struggle for me to learn their names, and so we'll take pictures of every class as they come in, and I create a little folder on Google Drive. And then before that class comes in next time, I'll just swipe those kids, make sure I'm playing the memory game, and then that really helps me learn their names a lot faster. So that helps a ton when you're trying to manage a kindergarten class because I don't have assigned seats with them. So I really need to be able to know their names to call kids out for demonstrations or behavior issues and things like that. So make sure you learn their names. That taking a picture of them at the beginning of the year is a good call.
Good life hack on there.
Yeah.
Take a picture of them and you can see them. Because, you see them the first time, you see them what they're wearing, but they wear something different the next time. It's tough to remember their name, but if you could do that and then send them to all the other related arts teachers too. I do that. I share it on the Google Drive with all the other related arts teachers so they can see it too, and so that they can learn their names as well, and that helps build rapport with the other teachers as well.
So after first day, you gotta get those basic stopping signal procedures in. Then I'll start talking about some of the rules in the following lessons. Like the next lesson we'll go over how to use the bathroom, what the rules are for the bathroom. If the music's on, you can go. If the music's off, you can't. I show them how to turn the light on, how to open the door, how to flip the stop-go sign. We talk about the strike one, strike two, strike three. If you don't follow the rules, then that means other people can't learn. And so I have to explain to them that you'll have to go sit on the bench, and it's not a bad thing. It just means you need some time to refocus. And so we just try to ease them into those expectations and consequences. And then after that, after we know those consequences, every single day I start my kindergarten class the exact same way. How many K students do you have in a class do you team teach? From Instagram Live. We have a lower number of students at our school. We have team taught in the past, but right now we have single classes. So about 24 to 25 is our kindergarten. 4K is 20, kindergarten is 25.
Over on my side, we have a huge school. We have one of the largest schools in the state, South Carolina. So we have about 900 and something students in our school, and we have about 23 to 24 kindergartners in there, and it's a double class every day. So it's about 48 to 50 kindergartners in there from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. So we do a lot of team teaching, so it takes a lot of patience and stuff like that. That's cool.
Yeah, that's
Instagram
cool.
Live. Yeah, I like that.
Thanks for the question, Kyle. I think that's called Mr. Coach PE. So anyways, what was I saying? Forgot.
Mindset, rules.
Oh yeah, every day I start the kindergarten with the same thing, and I review the 3 most important rules with them, which is when the teacher's talking, what are you doing? And all the kids say, listening. And if you have something to say, what should you do? And they say, raise your hand. And then keep your hands and feet to yourself. So those 3 things are, the majority of the issues that I have with my kindergartners. So every day reviewing those kind of puts it at the top of their mind and helps them remember the important things that they need to do to have a successful day in PE.
We do basically the same thing. I do the call and response, the same ones as well. But we also have had issues in the past with tying the shoes. So we've had a designated area for them to tie shoes, and then I do the same ones that Ben does, but I also add in point to where you need to go if you need help with your shoes. So the kids, if their shoes are untied, we don't want them stopping in the middle of the activity. And kindergartens don't know that yet, so they'll just stop and try to tie their shoe right there. So we try to point them to an area where if I'm teaching, then my co-teacher and she could go tie their shoes, and if she's teaching, then I can go tie the shoes. So basically the same thing. Reviewing those rules every single time, and then having a designated place for them to tie their shoes, because our school is so large, it's tough for us to do different things like that. So we have a designated area on there, but reviewing those rules every week when they come, every time, and it helps out. Eventually they'll understand what's going on. But yeah, having that call and response is clutch. It helps out those kindergartens so much.
It is nice. The one good thing about having 2 classes when you're team teaching is you have one person that's teaching and one person that can handle the crying kid, the injured kid, the kid that has no shoes, the kid that can't turn on the light in the bathroom. So that is the one good thing about having 2 classes at the same time if you have 2 teachers. Yeah. The bad thing is you got 55-year-olds in one spot.
In August, and it can get there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Keeping those routines the exact same every day is important, because then the kids come in, they know exactly what to expect, and especially with kindergarten, it's really helpful. So definitely do that as you're starting out the year. Get those routines, procedures, and try to keep that consistent over time.
Oh yeah.
You want to hit mindset?
Kindergarten mindset. It took a couple of years for me to develop. Working with Ben and seeing how he handles kindergartners, and working with my other co-teacher on there, you kind of develop a style of how to deal with kindergartens. And first, you got to put yourself in their perspective. I mean, they're 5 years old. They've been barely walking and running for a couple of years. It's tough for them to get engaged with the rules that you're trying to do every single time. So I come in with the mindset of having major patience and being able to understand that they don't know anything, and you're the one that's showing them how to do everything. So having that patience with them when they do make mistakes and not letting it get you upset, it's a great mindset to have. And then one thing I had to continue telling myself, that not to take it personal. And when they make a mistake, they don't know anything else. They're just learning as me and you are learning every single day. So if they say something, or if they do something, or if they try to make their friends laugh, or they want to be silly or not listen to you, just try not to make it personal. And another good thing about being able to co-teach with somebody is that if they're teaching, then you can you can bring that student on there and have a positive conversation with them, or if you need to redirect them, you can do that as well. But for me, my growth mindset is to just be patient with. They're 5 years old, they're 6 years old, they're still learning, still trying to figure things out. Being patient with them is a great way for you to help you survive. And then once you have that conversation with them, you never know. You can reach them and do different things you never thought you can do with them. But having that patient mindset is a way to get the students to do what you want to do.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree with everything Marcus said. And also, for me, kindergarten used to be a class that I dreaded for my first couple of years teaching, because I just didn't have control of them. I didn't have management. And I was trying to actually teach a lesson instead of having like a play to learn mindset, where I was going to expose them to content and then they were going to get a chance to build skills. Because the thing is, when you're trying to teach kids a progression of tasks and they don't have the skills yet to do that progression, it's going to fall apart. And so the more that you can allow those kids to have time to practice skills with less you talking and less structure, the better. Did you see that question that just came up?
I did see that. It says, do you have any tips of learning all the names?
Yeah, we talked about that at the beginning.
We go over it again.
We take pictures at the beginning of the year when they have name tags on the first week, and then we scroll through them whenever you need to do a review of the names.
Yeah. Taking those pictures of kindergartens are huge, because I mean, if you can learn the kindergartens names, then you just have to learn the new set of kindergartens names the next year, and the new students who come to your school. So, doing whatever you can, taking pictures, looking at the names, looking at your sheet, trying to figure out all the different ways that you can try to figure out. I'm a big names guy, so I try to figure out the names, first, last, brother, sister, all types of that, because that's helped me build a relationship with students. So learning those names as quickly as you can and doing over again, that'll help you out as well.
Yeah. Another thing is, you have to remember that these kids are 5, and so their fears and their things that are holding them back from doing some of the skills, it seems silly to you because you're an adult, but for them it's scary. And so you gotta kind of remind yourself to get down on their level and remember that if you force a kid to do something and they start crying, or you get frustrated with them and cause them to cry, like, that kid is dealing with something that is a serious thing for them. And so you need to just back off a little bit, remember that they're 5, and let them do something else. It's no big deal. Try to offer different options for students that maybe are not willing to do some of the things that you might be doing. Starting my second year, how do you switch things up year to year? For me, my kindergarten looks very similar, and then when they get to first grade, it starts to progress. You have the vertical alignment. So if you're starting your first year teaching, then everybody's kind of starting at square one. You don't know everybody's previous instruction, but then as you progress, you'll start to see that vertical alignment as the knowledge and skills build, and hopefully you'll be able to build your kids from kindergarten all the way up through elementary school, or if you're secondary, you'll go up 6 to 12.
Same thing over there. We don't have the benefit of seeing our kids a lot, so we see them once a week. So when we do a unit or an activity or something like that, they might only get a chance to do it 3 or 4 times, depending on if they've been to class the whole time. So 3 or 4 times throughout 1 year is not enough for us to get proficiency. So we try to do the same things over and over again, so they can remember some of the things that we've done in the past, which can help them be confident enough to do it outside of class. But like Ben said, the vertical alignment, the difficulty from 1 year to the next, is a basic way that we can switch up. Throwing unit or something like that, the game might get a little more difficult as you get older. It's a different way to try to switch things up over there. But we want to try to hit some of the same main things that are around our community a lot, so they'll have the confidence and the ability to go do it outside of class.
Yeah, just as a practical example of that, in 3rd grade, I want my kids to be able to play foursquare. And so in kindergarten, one of the skills we work on is bouncing and hitting it to a wall and catching it, because that's a serve in foursquare. And there's no way kindergartners can play foursquare, but you can still do those fundamental skills with them: bounce, hit to the wall, catch,
That's
just the
right,
basics.
yeah.
And as you do that, then in first grade, they might be able to do it to a partner. And then in second grade, they can go back and forth, cooperatively with the game of Foursquare. So you can break things down like that, which leads us into our recommended format for a kindergarten lesson, which is
Stations
all day.
Stations are clutch. Stations are a great way for you to take the content that you're doing maybe with the older groups or with some other classes and break them down into 4 different or 5 different or however how many skills that you want to use on there. The stations are something that we teach early and often, especially with kindergarten and first grade, to get them acclimated to the gym, to get them acclimated to sharing equipment, using equipment, taking care of equipment. So stations help out a lot on there as far as what we do in the class over there.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody was asking about stopping signal. For me, I use the exact same stopping signal kindergarten through 5th grade, and it's just 1, 2, 3. When I say 1, 2, 3, the kids say huh, and then they all drop to their knee. They have equipment, they put it on the ground, and we also use music as a management strategy. So anytime the music's playing, the kids are moving, and then if the music stops, they're listening, and they can hear us call out that stopping signal, and then the kids stop, drop, and listen. So that's what we use. You guys use the same thing?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, stations are great, and keeping like in my gym, we have quadrants. The gym's already divided into quadrants, and so all I have to do is change out the different stations. At the beginning of the year, since the kids have never had any instruction, I will do one 25-minute lesson on how to jump rope. Here's some things you can do with the jump rope. I lay it on the ground, the kids jump over it. We talk about turn and jump one time because they're learning it for the first time. And the reason I do that is just because when the kids are at the station, I want them to have lots of different things that they can do to challenge themselves. And so then the next lesson I might do hula hooping. And I'll put some links below for some ideas for that. I got a jump roping YouTube video, a hula hooping YouTube video. You can kind of get an idea of just basic things that you can teach kids. So then once I've done that a few times, I'll have 4 stations in the gym: jump roping, hula hooping, riding a scooter, and then maybe bouncing a ball. You can bounce it to yourself, bounce it to the wall, bounce it to a partner. So then once we understand the rotation of those stations, I'll stop the music, the kids clean up, they point to the next station, always rotate the exact same way. Once we get that down, then I just start mixing up the stations to keep it interesting. Me and Marcus both break down the unit that we're teaching into basic skills. So if I'm teaching a basketball unit, my 4 stations for my kindergartners might be passing to the wall, passing to a partner, dribbling the ball, and shooting a gator skin ball into a bucket or into a goal if you have a goal that's low enough for them to reach.
Yeah, every content that you can teach, you can break it down into a station. You could do it 4 different parts of one content, or you can break it down in levels over there. So I might have them dribble with a dominant hand at one station and dribble a non-dominant hand at one station, or do a V dribble at one station. So you can progress the content that you're doing, or you can do 4 different content areas over there, or 5, depending on how many stations that you need over there. And it helps to build, that relationship from one station to the next. And it also gets them prepared for field day, because that's some of the things that we do on field day, moving from one station to the next. And you get a chance to work on and individually get a chance to give feedback to individual students, because you're not directing the whole lesson. Once students are engaged in the stations, you are now free to move about and redirect and give feedback and do all those different things over there. So that's a couple of reasons why I like to do stations, and Ben likes to do stations, because we become the facilitator. We relieve ourselves of the teaching duty, and now we can facilitate a lot of different things, and students get a chance to use a lot of different equipment. And in our situation, we don't have equipment for everybody, so we have to be able to share the equipment as well.
You typically take attendance or get right into the instant activity. For me, I don't have assigned seats for kindergarten, so I just ask the teacher when they drop them off if anybody's absent, and then I mark it on my roster, and that's it. So it's just everybody here, and then if they're not, then I'll put a by their name, because it would take too long with a 25-minute class for me to actually take attendance with kindergarten.
Yeah, we have a little bit more time because I have 50 minutes with my kindergartner, so. Especially at the beginning of the year, to help me learn the names, I'll call out students' names, and I'll have them say, if I call your name out, stand up, tell me what your favorite food is, or tell me what you like to do to be active. and it gives me a chance to look at their name, especially early in the year, mark here or there. But after the year starts, when the kids walk in, I mean, I have pack stuff that I need to do in the 50 minutes. So I basically go, if the teacher aide is still there, I'll go, is anybody absent? And then they'll let me know who's absent on that. If she's already gone, I'll ask the kids, like, who's in, who's not here. We do it quick in kindergarten and try to maximize the time that we have.
Got to. So just getting practical, what my normal lesson, I would say about 75% of the time, since I have a 25-minute class, the kids come in, I review the 3 rules I talked about at the beginning. We do walk and jog the long lines, walk short lines, and then, after 5 weeks of that, I'll switch it up and we'll do skipping, sliding, and then we'll do galloping, leaping, things like that. I'll put out little PVC hurdles for them. So you mix it up, but it stays the exact same routine. They walk in, they sit down, review the 3 rules, do a quick warm-up, then they come to the middle and I tell them the 4 stations. So we will rotate the exact same way every time, and I'll just switch out the skills that we're working on. I'd say that's about 75% of my kindergarten class because it's only 25 minutes. So the kids end up getting about 4 or 5 minutes at each station. What about you guys?
Typical one for ours is just a little bit extended than what Ben does because we have it for the whole 50 minutes. We used to have a 25-minute block, but we have so many kindergarten classes that we couldn't fit them all in 1 week to double them up. So they come for 50 minutes on there. So we do the same thing. They walk in, and we usually takes a little bit of time for them to walk in because there's 2 classes walking in. So we have one group walk all the way to the other side of the gym while another group walks in. We sit down, take attendance, and we get started on walking and jogging just like Ben does. Because of our size, once the kindergartners get acclimated to walking and jogging, there's almost 50 kindergartners trying to do walking and jogging. So eventually, after we got them acclimated to there, we'll set up cones in each of the 4 square spots, and then it'll become like a track going around. And once we see that they can handle, moving with control, we'll do that off of the walking and jogging lines. But we always use walking and jogging lines as a reference. So if kids aren't behaving or they can't do it, we digress and go back to walking and jogging until they understand what to do. After that, before we hit the stations, we usually talk about the content. And then if we have enough equipment for everyone to use, we'll do a whole group activity on there. And then after we do a whole group, then we'll switch and do the same kind of station format that Ben does. We have double the amount of kids that Ben has. So if we don't have enough equipment for each on the stations, we'll do half and half a class to do it and just have 2 stations. And then they'll flip-flop the classes on there. But if we do have enough, we'll do the 4-station format as well. And then we'll bring them in for a closure. And then, by the time we do that, we have to have them back at a certain time. So that it doesn't seem as much, but with 50 kindergartners and trying to get in 50 minutes, I mean, the time flies on there. But
do you guys have an official break for yours? Like when they get water or bathroom, or is it just you got to get your own?
At the beginning of the year, I would say the first class, maybe the second class after that, will stop, and if they need to, they can go. Mm-hmm. But eventually, once we start moving and doing different things like that, with 2 teachers in there, it helps out a lot.
Right.
They can start to
take
use
responsibility for their own actions.
Yep.
Nice.
And we try to do a good job of talking to kindergarten teachers about using the restroom before you come to PE class. So, but yeah.
Mr. Coach PE is asking how you split the groups up. For me, I split my groups up by, I usually only have 24 or 25 kids, so I know all their names, so it's very simple. I just say, hey, boom, 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 go to red square, boom, 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 go to green square, boom, 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 go to blue. When we did have 50 kids, it would be 2 classes, and so I would say, girls from Miss Davis's class, go to blue square. Boys from Miss Davis's class, go to red square. Girls from Miss Johnson's class, go to green. Boys from Miss Johnson, go to red. So split it up, ginger with each class. You could also use Team Shake if you wanted to, which is a great app for dividing up classes.
Teams, yeah.
You got any tips for that?
We do the same thing, boys, girls. We do that. If you have a single class, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Gives them a chance to listen and then go to a station. A quick check for understanding type thing that you can do. But we do basic gender things on there as well. If you have a really good class, you can have them choose give
really
that social, if you give them that social responsibility to choose, and then you go in there and say, hey, I need 5 people at each station, and then have them, and then if your kids are arguing at a station, that's a time to teach. You say, hey, everybody's gonna get to do everything. You don't have to do something that you want to do first. I mean, I would prefer to do something last, but that's just me. But that's a conversation that you can have in there. But we basically just do the gender with the class and split them up that way.
Another thing you can do, which I've done with my older kids, is if you have colored wristbands, just those rubber wristbands, you can buy them real cheap on Amazon. Mm-hmm. You can, if you have 50 kids, you can count out 25% red, 25% green, yellow, and blue. And then as the kids come in, they stick their hand in the bucket, grab a wristband, put it on, and then when everybody sits down, if you got a blue wristband, go to the blue square. Yeah. So a real simple way to split it up too, if you want to try that out. So that was kind of the bulk of stations, but then let's talk about some of the other things we do with kindergarten for lessons. One thing is you want to make sure they know how to move around in personal space and work on those locomotor skills. So just doing simple games like we talked about at the beginning, where you're doing a game that we call I See, where you're like, I see, and the kids say, what do you see? Yeah. And then you just make stuff up. You say, I see there's a lot of rabbits hopping around, and the kids start hopping around. Or you say, I see there's a lot of trains sliding on a track, and the kids are sliding around. So they're just working on moving to open spaces. You can also do, which I would highly recommend, follow the leader songs. Yes. Like Listen and Move by Greg and Steve. Call It Macaroni, which will link up a video of that. Yes. You can do the Hokey Pokey, which I do with hula hoops.
Freeze dance.
Yeah, freeze dance. You can do chicken dance. There's a ton of ways that you can teach your kids how to follow along to a song, and then when you play the song, and the kids know what to do, and you can give feedback to other students that don't know how to skip or don't know how to slide. You can kind of pull them aside and say, hey, remember, sliding is sideways. So you can have those little conversations once you get your kids in a routine and they know how to follow along to a song. So sometimes I'll do that as a reward for my students if we're doing a station day and they finish quickly and everybody's cleaning up their station fast and they're doing the right thing and they don't waste a bunch of time talking. Then I'll say, hey guys, you did an awesome job. We're going to get to do Call It Macaroni now. And everybody cheers. And then they get to do the song.
So excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do basically the same thing on there. And the Locomotor songs, again, give you a chance to let somebody else do the teaching. If they call out the different locomotors and different activities, then you get to move around and facilitate, especially with a large group, especially with a young group, having that advocacy for somebody else to do some different things can help you out until you build a relationship base where you can handle those different things over there. So we use those locomotor songs a lot. We also do a breakdown of the personal space, especially earlier in the year, and praising students who understand the personal space, because that's how you eliminate a lot of the issues and the injuries and stuff. Is that they just don't know how to move around with control. So doing those personal space activities, mixing them in with the stations, breaking down what you do with the older students with kindergartners are a great way to help you manage that first year for them, to make it fun for them. And then eventually, with the vertical alignment in space, you can start to add in different things as they get older. But those basic things is some of the things that we try to accomplish every year to help us out to get them to do the stations and the locomotors and the different activities, so that way when they get older with us, we already have those rules established. We already know what's going on. So those are some of the things that we try to do.
Yep. You can do basic tag games, noodle tag. I probably wait. Me personally, I wait till about halfway through the year before I do any kind of tag games with my kindergarten kids. Mm-hmm. And another tip for kindergarten tag games is, I got this from Sarah Wood. I don't know if she's watching on Instagram, but is put a beanbag on their heads, and then if your beanbag falls off, you're frozen. So what that causes everybody to do is to slow down, which is what you want, or you can put everybody on scooters if you want to do that as well. Although I don't know if that would be safer, because then somebody's hand might get run over. So beanbag on head is a good one, though. Somebody asked, how do you close your class? For me, it's like we had 25 minutes, I get them in, instant activity, 4 stations, line up, and get out, and then we switch classes. So I get 2 kindergarten classes back to back. for 25 minutes each. So there's no waiting. And for the closure, it's like once they line up on the line, everybody say step and push.
Yeah.
We're working on passing that day. We just review the cues like 2 times and then we're out. So just working on those basics, trying to help them build those fundamental skills. Do you guys do anything different for your closure?
We have a little bit more time, so we can bring them into a central area. We have a middle white square and talk about, what we did in the class and all this different things. So we have a little bit more time to do that. But a lot of times it's just basic, quick. Same thing. You get on the line, we got the kids back, different things like that. It's just real quick. Underhand, it's different things like that. So we try to do those different things quickly as well, but we have a little bit more time. We can all bring them together and have a conversation with them as well.
Cool. Good stuff, guys. Hope that was helpful. And wherever you're listening or watching, if you would rather do the podcast, we're going to have the podcast out soon. It's going to be up on YouTube as well. And thank you for checking us out on Instagram Live. Appreciate the questions. That was fun. And tune in next time to the Phys Ed Q&A podcast. If you want to look up some of the show notes or the links, you're going to want to hit up the peteacherspecialist.com/podcast, and we'll have all the episodes listed there for you to make it nice and easy.
Ready to do it.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Appreciate
Have fun and teach on. See you later. Thanks for watching, guys. That's it for this episode of the Phys Ed Q&A show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit that subscribe, and don't forget to share with somebody that you think might benefit from the conversation. Just a reminder that we'll have all the show notes linked below in the video description, and if you would rather listen to the audio version, we do have a podcast, which is in iTunes. You can search that on your favorite podcast player app, and be sure to subscribe. Hope you guys have an awesome day. As always, have fun and teach on, and we'll see you next time. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching the video. I wanted to let you know this video is sponsored by the PE Specialist membership community, where teachers have access to great tools like unit plan samples, station signs, trainings, tutorials, and even community forums. If you think the membership might be a good fit for you, you can head over to the peteacherspecialist.com/info for some more information. Hope you guys have an awesome day.